5 Melbourne suburbs, all under 800k, and I think every single one of them is about to move, if not already moving. I'm a Melbourne boy and I've been through the data on all of them. I've walked every single one of these streets just like today. I'm going to show you exactly what I found. I'm going to walk you through all 5, the numbers, the streets, what I'd buy in each one. And suburb number 5 might be the best value I've seen in Melbourne all year round. Deer Park is suburb 5 in the top 5. This is the one I approach with a lot more selectivity, and that's why it's a bottom 5 out of the top 5. But it has had a strong recent growth on this list at 13% over 3 years, a 23% rental ratio versus 77 owner-occs, extreme scarcity, and currently only about 7 listings. And the current inventory level is lasting for less than 3 weeks. And that is a solid stickiness of owner-occs staying for over a decade. It's extremely stable community, low turnover, protecting that long-term value. And this is what I call a value band marketplace. Demand here is driven by home buyers, a little bit of value upgraders and investors, and not prestige blue chip buys. Which means when affordability becomes a key driver in a market that is shifting currently, sitting at about roughly 43 years to own, this segment activates quickly. The second is employment accessibility and train station accessibility. These suburbs sit right next to Sunshine, Derrimut, Lavender North, industrial and employment hub corridor of the West. Sits in that band that will benefit from the Melbourne Airport Rail and the Sunshine Super Hub over the next decade. But also Vic University St Albans campus, the decade-long connectivity program that systematically is lifting Melbourne's west, and that's thousands of jobs across logistics, manufacturing, industrial, Amazon Prime, all supported by the major arterial roads across Melbourne's west. And that employment base is what underwrites demand and liquidity in these home markets. But here's the interesting part, right of Deer Park. The Western markets tend to move with what I call the catch-up growth. Being in the property game since 27, I've observed the Melbourne property market cycle game over that 20-year time frame through the peaks and the troughs. They don't always compound slowly like the inner blue chip suburbs. And I'm buying really quality here of family upgraded homes, owner-occupiers, good land, strong street appeal. And let's face it, that momentum is real, but selectivity is quite essential of quality over average homes. And let's go hop in from Deer Park Station into the streets, understand what Deer Park has to offer. Deer Park, bulletproof suburb, delivers the mini version of Taylor's Hill. What we're liking here, vanilla, bread and butter, buy and holds. We're not going fancy in here. We're letting the market do the heavy lifting. We are capitalizing on infrastructure corridors and growth corridors in a market that is showing really good supply and demand imbalance. Homes are generally the newer side from the 2000s plus and above, so maintenance most homes are quite on the cheaper end. We are liking that the majority of homes are brick homes. Most gardens are well kept, tidy. The nature strip is very well maintained at a council level and at an owner-occupier level. The tree line, the treescapes are very well matured eucalyptus trees, giving you that foliage across. Hardly any burnt out skid mark cars. And ticking all the right boxes, and that is why, my friends, Deer Park is on our top 5 list for first-time investors who do not want the hassle of the value add. This is your play, my friends. You are within proximity to Melbourne. You've got a good solid infrastructure for train amenity, and if you're learning how to drive a car, you'll make plenty of friends here with our pages. Right away, the asset ticks several strong fundamentals. Let's get into it. First, it's a family configuration, 4 beds, 2 baths, immediately broadening that buyer pool and renter pool, appealing to both owner-occupiers and family tenants, which supports again that long-term resale liquidity in terms of what we'll look for in an asset. Second, it's price positioning. Recent sales across Deer Park show that many 3-bed homes trade between 700 to about 740, with larger homes pushing towards the upper band. So securing a 4-bedroom around the high 700 range places a purchase price right in that sweet spot of the suburbs affordability band. Third is land value. At roughly 450 square meters, you're still capturing meaningful land component in the context of Deer Park, which historically drives capital growth in suburban Melbourne markets. Now, let's face it, the big investment idea here is where you combine family-sized home, solid land component, entry at the core price band of the suburb, and at 7.75% historical growth, you're looking at a property that could grow from 779 purchase price to roughly 1.13 mil in 5 years. What does that mean? That creates 350 equity through compounding alone. And that is where the magic happens. Most investors look at Melbourne's west and assume every suburb is the same, but one suburb quietly has something that others don't. Direct rail access to the CBD from Water Gardens station, with straight connectivity into Water Gardens shopping centre right behind me. And that station, it was just completely rebuilt and upgraded. So suddenly you've got a suburb where commuters can step on a train and head straight into the city and hop off a train into the shopping centre. And that level of connectivity improves the buyer pool and it expands it instantly, because convenience will always win, and this suburb is Sydenham. Now, here's what the market activity looks on the ground. 27 days on market, these homes are gone within a month of listing. Housing demand is running ahead of supply. And let's face it, if only Metro Trains could take a good example on this and get the trains to run on time. But this is where it gets really interesting. The supply is at 0.11 months and 3 listings, and that's super tight for an entire suburb. And when buyers only have a handful of options, the competition really starts to build quickly. Now, let's face it, that's all backed by the underlying demographics and also relatively stable. The suburb holds an ersatz score of 4, placing it in that lower middle to upper socio-economic bracket. And that's typically where you're seeing the first-home buyers upgrading into family homes, gradually improving the suburb profile over time. Affordability also sits at roughly 35 years to own, which still places it within reach for many owner-occupiers entering the Melbourne market. And guess what? Around 31% of renter to owner-occupier ratio, meaning the majority of residents are still owner-occupiers, supporting that long-term stability. The Keilor Park level crossing removal was completed last year. This is a suburb with rail, retail, and tight supply in one package, with only local owners staying for over a decade. And you can simply understand why. So when you combine everything together, this suburb offers something quite rare. Direct rail access to the CBD, recently upgraded transport infrastructure, and the magic here is extremely tight housing supply with stable owner-occupied demographics. And perhaps the most powerful signal of all, local owner-occupiers are holding for more than a decade on average. That kind of long-term hold period usually tells you one thing: people simply do not want to leave. But here's a part that most buyers are missing. Even inside of strong suburbs like this, some pockets outperform others dramatically. Street selection, school zones, particularly important here, and proximity to rail can change that long-term outcome of a purchase. So come along, let's hop into the car and go and explore Sydenham from the driver's lens. Catholic Regional College of Sydenham, always a little bit of a preferred institutional, educational college these days amongst a fair few locals. And as we pop through, what are we seeing? We are now driving down Overton Lee Boulevard, and we're seeing a little bit more denser housing closer towards the station, which has a specific demographic for it, which is good. And as we pop out, we're now going to enter the heart of Sydenham. And that's where we're going to really see the type of homes that it has to offer. Owner-Occupier, low brickset homes, low maintenance homes. But now as we enter into Stagecoach Crescent, that is where the fun time happens. And look at that. On the one side, we've got beautifully manicured trees, bushes, hedges that are neatly trimmed. Green grass in Melbourne is always a luxury to have. Let's face it, this purchase in Sydenham is a strong example of buying the right type of asset at the right entry point right behind me. For $740, you're securing a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, standalone home on roughly about 450 square metre of land, which is still a meaningful component of land in Melbourne's northwestern corridor. The layout here is practical for family demand with 2 bathrooms, a double garage, keeping property appealing to both owner-occupiers and tenants, which is really supporting that long-term resale liquidity. Now, when you overlay that with numbers, it becomes even more interesting. At a historical growth rate of 6.7%, a property purchased at $740K today could grow to roughly 1.4 million in about 10 years for compounding of capital growth. That is approximately 670 in equity creation without factoring in any renovation or value add strategy overlaid on top of it. So when you combine a functional family asset, a solid land component, and that long-term compounding growth, this is a type of a purchase that quietly will build you wealth over time. You're buying good fundamentals in Sydenham. This is how slow capital growth happens. Look, it can happen very slow, it can happen very fast. The biggest mistake I see investors make when comparing suburbs is chasing that 3-year hotspot headline number without asking what is driving it. Some of these runs are demand-led, some are investor speculative-led. The suburbs on this list are demand-led. Tight supply, owner-occupier base, real infrastructure spending, and that distinction simply matters to get your growth. A suburb in Melbourne just quietly delivered 92% growth over the last decade, and often tarnished and hated amongst a lot of local Melbournians. It can only be suburb 3, Werribee. It's a median price today of pushing in upwards of 700 plus, and right now it's where it's getting interesting. The Werribee Mercy Hospital is currently undergoing a $218 million expansion. At the same time, the rail corridor and level crossing removals across Melbourne's west are being upgraded all the way through to 2030. Better transport, shorter commutes, more accessibility. And infrastructure like this just doesn't help locals. It opens up this suburb to an entire new buyer pool. And that's why we're seeing a lot of investors, a lot of owners flocking into Werribee. We are driving through Hoppers Lane, the epicenter of social infrastructure. So to my left-hand side, we've got Wyndham Private Medical Centre. To my right-hand side, we've got Werribee Mercy Hospital upgrade happening right now. And as we dash straight down to the right, we are about to turn into Vic Uni. Whoops, no entry. St Vincent Private Hospital to my left hand side, Vic Uni to my right hand side. And as you guys know it, I'm a die-hard OnlyFans property passionate of hospitals and universities. Let's go. I'm in the heart of Werribee's infrastructure epicenter boom. Hoppers Lane, Werribee Mercy Hospital, Wyndham Private Medical Centre, St Vincent private hospital base, the Women's Health Club, the University of Melbourne Werribee campus, the Wyndham Tech School, Victoria University Werribee campus, the Wyndham Law Courts, the Spark Business Innovation Hub. That means more jobs, more healthcare professionals, more support industries, more uni students, and when employment centres expand, housing demand tends to follow at both owner-occupier level and renter level. And here's a real question. Has the market actually priced this in yet? Because when infrastructure catch up meets tight supply, suburbs can move very quickly. And that suburb is Werribee. Let's unpack what's really happening here. First, there's almost no stock available. Werribee currently has about 0.8 months of housing inventory left. To put that into context, a normal market generally is about 2 months supply. So when that inventory drops below 1 month, we all know what happens. Buyers aren't competing with the market, they're competing with one another. And that pressure is one of the biggest drivers of price movement. The second signal is who actually is living here. And it's actually going to surprise you. 67% of residents are owner-occupiers and only a balance of 33% are renters. That matters a lot more than most investors actually realize, because owner-occupiers do not treat property like a spreadsheet. They buy for lifestyle, for school, for community, proximity to work. And let's face it, when owner-occupiers dominate a suburb, prices tend to become much more resilient for market cycles. So when you step back and look at the fundamentals, Werribee has three powerful forces aligning: extremely tight house supply, a strong owner-occupier base, major massive infrastructure investment. And historically, when these three ingredients align in a suburb, you often see the next phase of a cycle begin in an upward movement. But here's the thing that most investors miss. Not every street in Werribee performs in the same. Some pockets attract strong owner-occupier demand. Others are dominated by investor stock and year-end supply. And the famous no-go zone, the birdcage. But that's the trip for another time. And that difference can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term performance, or the total opposite. Let's go. Altona Meadows, where most buyers are chasing Melbourne's west, are looking at Point Cook or Altona. But one suburb that's sitting quietly between them might actually offer better value right now. And this is suburb number 2, Altona Meadows. Let me show you why. My focus is in the wetlands of Altona Meadows. You're about 17 k's from the CBD, close to the Central Square shopping centre, major parks, a dog park where we are right now, and I can spot the CBD skyline right away, and within distance to Altona Beach with its own dog beach. So if you're effectively buying into a family-friendly lifestyle suburbs positioned between Point Cook and the inner west coastal markets, largely made up of family households and couples with children, and an average group of about 30 to 40 who are absolutely dog lovers. And this is what I called a doggy defensive growth pick. It's not in the middle of a transformational story. It is already done. It's established, it's stable, and the supply data is in some of the tightest I've seen in Melbourne's west. You've got only 0.30% of homes. This is approximately 8 homes. Inventory is at 0.39 months if no homes were to come to market. The Werribee line upgrades are coming and the suburb sits right on that corridor, but also backed by solid socioeconomic fundamentals of an ERSAT of 4 and a solid owner-occupier galore ratio of 27%. Now, what's not to love about Altona Meadows with the convenience of the doggy parks? Let's go. Altona Meadows. We are loving the wide streets, the deep setbacks of a home. We are liking the treescape, but also the owner-occupier appeal, which is very much present, and the reason why it is sitting at the number 2. It's just easy investing for first-time investors who are seeking that long-term capital growth in a market that is dominated by owner-occupiers. We're liking the street appeal. A lot of the gardens are very well kept. What we're saying is the convenience of what Altona Meadows has to offer is immaculate. You've got an array of parks, you've got the dog reserve, you've got large roads, you have that owner-occupier attraction, you've got the wetlands, you've got the beach, and we can definitely see that in the quality of the homes that we're going through. And this is why it's a perfect, well-balanced market for a first-time investor or an investor who's seeking a long-term buy and hold. This property recently sold for $730,000 and it's a 3-bed, 2-bath family home in a quiet court location. That configuration matters. Just look at the gardenscape behind us. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a family layout that keeps the property attractive to first home buyers, young families, and that tenant appeal, which is exactly the buyer pool driving demand in this suburb. Here is where it gets interesting. When you overlay the numbers, it becomes even more compelling. At 6.9% capital historical growth, a purchase of $750,000 in 2026 today could reach roughly $1 million over 5 years. That is $300,000 equity compounding alone in markets. And this is why suburbs like Altona Meadows are particularly quite interesting. It sits in what investors or myself would call a spillover corridor, where buyers are priced out of the more premium pockets of inner west Altona, Point Cook and surrounds, and start moving outward along the same transport and employment corridors. And that's often where the next layer of growth quietly happens, where everyone is focused on the hype of Point Cook and Altona. Before I get to my top 1 suburb out of the 5, which is my favorite one on this list, I want to tell you what ties all of these together. Every single suburb I've shown you today has a low renter ratio, greater owner-occupiers dominating. That's a filter I apply every time. When most people in the suburb own their home, the market moves on genuine demand and not investment sentiment. The top 1, Suburb 1, Keilor Downs. 5 key data points that blows my mind. Let's start with a hold period of 14 years. Owner-occupiers refuse to leave. I've been to hundreds of suburbs across Australia and I rarely see this number. It's owner-occupier galore, and 80% owner-occ to renter ratio. That means 82% of people on this street own the home they're living in. Every 10 houses, 8 homes are held by an owner-occupier who stayed here for more than a decade. Why does it matter? The strongest community stability signal on this entire list. We're looking at 28 days of market. These properties are gone within a month, consistently at every single property cycle. 0.32 months of inventory, the fastest moving market on the list, and demand is consistently outpacing supply. We've got a 0.07 stock of market, equating to homes that I can count on 2 hands. And listen, it's all backed by strong suburb infrastructure fundamentals. The Greenbank Aquatic Centre, the level crossing removal, the Council Capital Works program. This suburb has been invested in, and the market knows it. It delivers outcomes, not just promises, lifting livability year on year. This is a gold mine right now. Immaculate treescape, olive trees on the nature strip, manicured lawns, and this is why we are in the heart of Keilor, Keilor East, Keilor Downs, and this is where the opportunity is. It's a lazy equity play. If you've got $800K to spend and you want easy long-term play, Keilor Downs is a place to be, my friends. While I personally do like that, the equity play here is a disparity between the 3 suburbs to about $350K. who's not liking 350k in their pocket. Most buyers are chasing Keilor East, but the real opportunity is next door, and here's why. Right now, the medium house price in Keilor is sits around the $1.1 to $1.2 million range, while Keilor is even slightly higher, around 1.2 to 1.3 million. Both are strong owner-occupier suburbs, stable, established, and already priced like a blue chip market. With Keilor down, that's where the price gap opens up, often around a 250 to 350 disparity. But hey, you're still buying the same Northwest Melbourne fundamentals: tight supply, strong connectivity, and family demand. So here's your purchasing strategy on a 350 gold plate served to you. Target an old 3-bedroom home with renovation potential, just like these ones: Zadelco's, Munich Drive, Sunshine Avenue, Dongola Road. Because when there is a 350 price gap between the neighbouring suburbs, that's where you jump, you capitalize on this opportunity, and you get your hands dirty to manufacture equity instead of just waiting for growth, because that's all worth a 250 to 350 gold dig. And that is how, my friends, how smart investors get into opportunistic markets before everyone catches up. So what do all 5 of these suburbs have in common? Let me tell you the pattern I see. Every single one is an owner-occupier-led market. Low rental ratios, long holding periods, limited resale supply. These suburbs where people build their lives, the olive trees of the nature strips are the foundation for that long-term capital growth. None of them are high-yielding plays. It's not a cash flow play. Gross yields are sitting around the low 3% range across the board. If you're looking for cash flow, this isn't the list for you. This list is about capital growth, full stop. And the fundamentals here are as strong as I've seen in that Melbourne Western and Northwestern corridor. The transport infrastructure is the connecting thread. Level crossings being removed, train reliability improving, the Sunshine Super Hub on the horizon. All of these things expand that buyer pool and reduce friction for commuters, and that simply drives the demand across these suburbs. If I've got a 100k deposit, I'm getting it into Melbourne's West. It's going to be Altona Meadows is where I start. It has the cleanest supply profile on this list, ultra low listings, strong owner-occupier base, and the Werribee line upgrade coming. It's entry discipline where it matters, family grades, detached homes with solid land and street appeal. That's what you want to own here. If I've got 500k to deploy, I am seriously looking at Keilor Downs for one high quality asset. 80% rent to owner occ, extreme scarcity, genuine tightly held, and then value add play here. If I want to diversify, I'm splitting across Altona Meadows and Deer Park. 2 corridors, 2 infrastructure stories, 2 different buyer pools to get your money working as hard as it should be. Here's a big idea I want you to walk away with today. These suburbs are owner-occupier driven to the bone. These markets where scarcity does 100% of the heavy lifting. And that is why we get so excited about that. The listings are limited, households tends to stay long-term, infrastructure investment across that Melbourne Western and Northern corridor continues to lift livability over time. While yields are modest and parts of the cycle appear more mature, the combination of tight supply, stable family demand, and gradual amenity improvement underpins the long-term capital growth story. The window to get into these suburbs at current prices will not stay open forever. Every time a level crossing gets removed, every time a hospital expands, every time a train becomes more reliable, the buyer pool widens and prices adjust upwards. The best time to act was 18 months ago. The second best time is now. And the next best time is when the war keeps going. If this video helped you think differently about Melbourne's West, drop a comment below. I want to know which suburb would you target first, because the answer actually tells me a lot about your investment strategy. And if you want to go deeper on any of these, I am doing a full head-to-head comparison video next. Subscribe so you do not miss it. You guys know it, all the links are below. Till then, I'll see you on the next one.